Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Okay. Good evening and welcome. I would like to call to order the January 19th, 2022 meeting of the Economic Development Commission. We are doing things a bit differently tonight. As you can see, we are entirely virtual rather than in person. And Kelly, I will turn it over to you to ensure that we have a quorum.
Thank you. I'm just going to do a quick roll call. And if you are on the video call or on the phone, if you could just indicate that you're here. John Barr.
Present.
Lisa Colavito.
Here.
Phil Dorsey.
I saw Phil.
I thought I saw Phil too. Maybe he'll, oh, there he is, I see him.
Oh, I'm here.
Tristan Marino. Gerald Merriman. Rick Tarr.
Here.
Elizabeth Torgerson.
Present.
Teresa Mitchell. Barbara Ives.
Yeah.
Curtis Brown.
Here.
Brooke Turner. Dale Moore.
Here.
Christine Bergmark. Tricia Post.
Here.
Thank you.
Present.
We do have a quorum. Thank you.
Wonderful. So with that, our first order of business will be the state of education in St. Mary's County.
I think we have approval of minutes, actually.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the October 2021 EDC meeting?
I so move.
Motion.
Okay. With that out of the way, the first order of business. Yes.
Quick vote.
Sorry. Yep.
Vote on the motion.
Well, I'm gonna,
Yes.
can I say Dale Moore made the motion and Lisa second? Is that correct?
Sounds good.
Okay.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you, Chris. I always somehow forget that part.
That's okay. Next
So,
is let me
yes.
announcements. Let me use some announcements first
Okay.
before we go on. Okay, so some just for my introduction, I'm Chris Castellanos. I'm the Director of Economic Development for the department. Thank you guys for attending tonight. Thank you to our guests. A couple of quick announcements. We talked about it before the meeting started, but one of our staff members, Destiny Allen Mitchell, has resigned. She got another job, so congratulations to her. So we do have an opening for a economic development specialist, and we wish Destiny well. She did a great job for us, and many of you know her, and we're going to miss her. A couple other things. The commissioners a couple weeks ago passed changes to our alcohol production zoning ordinance. The section of the zoning ordinance related to agricultural alcohol. So it's not a monumental change, but it does streamline the process if you want to produce alcohol. So if you grow grapes and now you want to produce wine and you want to have a tasting room, instead of going through a major site plan to go to the planning commission, now it's a minor site plan, which is just approved by the director. So we're happy that that changed. We kind of led that effort. A couple other things. Our rural legacy area, we have two, the Huntersville and the Mattaponi. The Mattaponi is the southern one that's around the base, and that's going to be expanded. We're trying to double the size of that. That again protects our forests, it protects our farmland, and it protects the base. It takes land out of development. So our commissioners approved it. Now it's up to the state for their approval. The Regional Agriculture Center, the Meat Processing Center, we renewed our memorandum of agreement or understanding with the SMATIC, Southern Maryland Agricultural Development Commission. So that's on track and continues to be on track. We're just in the process of just beginning that work. The Barns at New Market is the name of our North County Farmers Market. And that is, if you're driven up in that way on Thompson Corner Road, you've seen some red structures on the left-hand side as you're heading north. That's our new farmers market. It's 99% ready. We've been waiting for an electrical panel because of the supply issues and because they dropped it and somebody ran over it. We were delayed in opening the barns. Hopefully it will be, I'd say within 2 months just to be safe. And then just some Aero Park Innovation District news. Tomorrow we have a business association meeting. So we had a master plan approved a couple of years ago, and one of the ideas was to form a business association. So we had an initial meeting about 2 months ago, and our second meeting will be tomorrow at 8:30. So all the business reps will be there, and they really like the idea of getting together and talking. And we'll be talking about some county-owned land out there and what to do with that. And then also under announcements, we have, I think there's only 2 new members of the EDC. One is Tricia Post and one is Rick Tarr. And I'll let them introduce themselves real quickly. So Tricia, ladies first, give us the 1-minute version of who you are.
Hi, Chris, thank you. Tricia Post, I currently own an indoor recreation center in St. Mary's County, Willows Recreation Center, and moved here in '97 with my husband, retired Marine Corps, so military affiliation as well.
Great, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Rick Tarr is with us. If you remember, Mike Schroeder has been on the EDC for a while from NOC-AD, and Mike has a different job, and we're happy to have Rick Tarr join us.
Hi, good evening. My name is Rick Tarr. Like Chris said, I'm the director of the NOC-AD Tech Transfer Office and also the director of our Southern Maryland Tech Bridge, which is co-located at the Aero Park Innovation District. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for joining. So Rick's office is in the Techport building at the Aero Park. So with that, the next agenda item is the state of education in St. Mary's County. So as we all know, the Economic Development Commission is helping us as we update our economic development strategy, our comprehensive economic development strategy. And we've had many subcommittee meetings and people kind of digging into details. And one of the things that was requested at a previous meeting, I think last meeting, was if we could get kind of some local experts on the state of education in St. Mary's County to come and speak to us. And we reached out to St. Mary's County Public Schools and the College of Southern Maryland and St. Mary's College of Maryland and the University System of Maryland at Southern Maryland. And they all said, yes, they would be here tonight because you guys are so important. So we are very pleased to have them all here today. And we're going to do some quick presentations. We'll go right down the order. And I would ask you to hold all your questions to the very end so they can get through their presentations. And if you have a question, jot it down, and then we're done with the last presenter. We'll open it up for questions. So first speaker will be Jeffrey Mayer. Dr. Mayer is the Chief Strategic Officer from St. Mary's County Public Schools.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this evening to share a little bit about St. Mary's County Public Schools. I'm going to move through these slides rather quickly because I know there's a number of folks who are presenting as well. So we'll go to the next slide here. The next item here is our mission statement, which really drives our work. The focus is on knowing the learner and the learning, expecting excellence in both. That level of rigor really continues in all of our work and the courses that we offer for our students, as we really try to prepare them for their colleges and or careers. So if we go to the next slide, that's where our commitments begin with our students at the center. And if we go to the next one, I told you I'm going to move through these pretty quickly because I know there's a number of people here. Our commitments really focus in on providing that rigorous curriculum aligned to standards, but also providing students those choices that they need to develop their own career paths in a supportive learning environment. The next slide, if we go to that, it looks at our enrollment. Our enrollment is down a little bit from last year. It's beginning to level off. It had dropped, from the year before. It dropped a little bit last year as a result of the pandemic. We're getting those students back, but they're not coming back as quickly. So we're down just a little bit, a couple hundred students out of roughly 18,000. Our student body is also growing more diverse, and about 1/3 of our students are economically disadvantaged and receive free or reduced meals. I will say one of the things that we have planned as we go into next year is to look at our facilities and our capacity at each of our sites so that we can determine our specific site needs and any changes that we need to implement both in our facilities and where students attend. So if we go to the next slide, I want to look at here, I talked about choices, and this is a real key part of our curriculum, is providing students different pathways that they can succeed. So we have a public charter school that we have had in place for about a dozen years or so. There's roughly 500 students at that charter school running a K-8 school. It began at as a K-5 school and expanded to middle school a few years ago, and is a highly successful charter school. We have a freshman academy at each of our high schools. Now, this used to be, we used to have a specific program at Fairleigh that ran 9 and 10 and then 11 and 12. That Fairleigh Academy is in 10 through 12 now, and we have a targeted freshman academy at each one of our high schools that is specifically focused on getting students who may have been at risk for academic failure as they roll into high school, gets them in a smaller, supportive learning environment so that they can earn those credits to advance as a steady sophomore and have that path laid out for graduation, for on-time graduation. Our Forest Center is tremendously successful with about 1,000 of our students. So that's roughly 20% of our high school students attend the Forest Center. An Academy of Finance at Chopticon, an Academy of Visual and Performing Arts as well. The Global of International Studies at Leonardtown, STEM academies in the Great Mills School and Great Mills High School and its feeder schools, and then the Virtual Academy, which is new this year, grades 3 to 12. We found that we wanted to offer that choice for those families who wanted to attend virtually this year. We have about 300 students in that program. Also, on the left of that screen, too, you see the number of dual enrollment students. And so one of the things we really work to is providing that first step into college for our high school students. And over 1,000 of our students participate in dual enrollment. That is either on our campus, and we have a number of classes for which they can earn both high school credit and college credit on our own campus, or they participate in CSM campus programs too. But again, over 1,000 students, and that number has grown considerably. We also have a CSM Access program, which is a set of courses in virtual learning labs on our campus where they're taught directly by CSM faculty on their campus. Also want to add too that we also provide specific supports for students with disabilities, and around 10.5% of our students receive those services with individualized education plans. We had looked at, in fact, I was asked this question specifically, what happens when they graduate? What are students prepared for when they leave? About 94% of our students graduate on time, and then they enter the military at about 6.5%, or the workforce at about 20%, or attending a trade school at about 3%, and about 65% attend a post-secondary college experience, with about half of those attending a 2-year college and another half attending 4-year. I will tell you this past year, as a result of the pandemic, we did have fewer students that went straight off to a 4-year college. So the number of 2-year college percentage, that percent went up last year, and the number of the percent at 4-year college did go down, obviously for economic reasons, because colleges were on virtual programs, et cetera. So we did see a little shift to that. We'll see how it shifts in the next year or two. And I already mentioned too the dual enrollment classes, the AP courses that students can take as early as 9th and 10th grade, and our CTE pathways. And actually, if we go to the next slide, you can take a look at the CTE programs. These are at our Forest Center, and we have some programs at our core high school too, about 1,000 students. We have 24 career-focused programs through the Forest Center. They are listed there. And actually, if you want to learn more about those, there's a Tech Expo tomorrow evening, actually, a virtual Tech Expo, and you can go to the Forest Center's website through our school systems site to learn about each one of those programs. All of the programs offer industry credentialing, but also offer articulated credit, either to a trade school or to a partner college or university. If we go to the next slide, this has been a real focus for us over this past year, is looking at how we address gaps that were exacerbated as a result of the closures, the virtual learning, the hybrid learning that happened over the last year and a half, going on 2 years. So our instructional program is focused on not only addressing those gaps, but also accelerating students so they can catch up to their current grade level and move forward. We have seen some really positive changes in student grades as we've come back this year, which is, if you saw any of the board presentations last year, you know that students may have struggled. And so getting them back on track is a real focus. We had summer school programs where over 3,000 of our students participated in summer recovery programs that were offered at all of our schools, in person, virtual, and hybrid. We had this freshman academy, which I already mentioned, and then the virtual academy. All of these are avenues to help getting our students back on track. And then the next thing there is really focusing on that need for mental health supports. And if we go to the next slide, that is addressed through multiple systems, multi-tiered systems of supports. So we have programs and supports that are offered at the whole class level, and then you get smaller and smaller groups based on their specific needs. Curriculum programs, but also those dedicated support professionals in terms of our counselors, our school psychologists, and our social workers who have really been highly dedicated to getting our students back on track and getting them the support that they need for their social emotional learning needs as well. And I'm going to shift gears a little bit with this next slide, just to address one of the key areas of legislation that has been passed in the last couple of years, and that is the Blueprint for Maryland's Future. So it was passed originally in 2020, and then as a result of the pandemic, they knew they had to make some changes and some amendments to it, including changes in timelines. So you had a Blueprint 2.0 that was passed in 21. And so what it really does, it lays out about a 10-year plan for innovation in public education. And again, back to that slide, that next slide there, it breaks the policy areas into 5 areas. So it looks at expanding supports in early childhood programs. That's not just in our schools, but expanded pre-K opportunities that connect with our non-public, our private providers in early childhood. Second is career ladders and high-quality teachers and leaders. So really looking at the preparation of teachers, expanding the experiences for teachers when they're with us to provide additional professional development, career ladders, as well as salary enhancements to teachers as well. The third piece is really where it connects with those colleges and careers that I talked about, which looks at college and career pathways that sets markers for college and career readiness that, if not met by a certain grade 10 that is, then a pathway is laid out for students that helps to get them that college career readiness, either if they have met it, to move through with college preparatory programs such as our AP courses, dual enrollment, et cetera, or a career pathway which focuses on those CTE elements. The fourth area looks at funding and resources for all students, particularly attending to those students who are either economically disadvantaged or at risk, and putting targeted supports for those students. And then, of course, with great funding comes great accountability. So there's layers of governance and accountability that are in here as well that asks for us to report on multiple, all the items within the blueprint, as well as developing a plan that is reviewed not only by the State Department, but the Accountability and Implementation Board, which is an independent group led at the state level. So the next slide really just brings all that together and talks about our staff. So we have about 1,500 professional staff. That would be our teachers, administrators, counselors, those staff, and then about 776, that's what the last count was, classified staff. So those would be our building service workers, secretaries, maintenance staff, bus drivers. We are the third largest employer, the second largest, I believe, in the county. When we look at the next to the base, it's us and the hospital, I believe, are the top three. And the average length of service for our staff is 13 years. So people generally stay with us. And I will tell you, one of the key focus areas for us is in that workforce development, looking specifically at our teaching staff and support staff and how we grow our own, how we bring them into the profession, look at working with our partners. I see Dr. Abel on the line here, and she and I have had several conversations about how we can expand our support for our teacher development programs so that when teachers come out of our Teacher Academy of Maryland program at the Tech Center, or they seek a job in teaching, they don't have to go up the road to go to school. They can stay here with us and then teach with us as well. So that is a real need that we want to continue to support locally. And then the final slide just brings up our website, which has all of our resources, including all of our recovery plan. If you want to take a look at that, there's also some feedback in that where we update it a couple of times a year. Our annual report from last year, we're actually going to be publishing our new one soon. Our strategic plan, our master plan for our facilities, and all of the other information, anything you want to know about our school system. We literally have thousands of pages of information that are linked here. So hopefully this gives you a nutshell version of what's going on in the school system, our focus on our students, and where we're going.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Good information, great. If you can stick around in case there's questions, it's a lot of comprehensive information. Next, we have Kelly Winters. She's the Executive Director of Workforce Development for the College of Southern Maryland. Welcome, Kelly.
Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I kind of approached this from the intersection of I'm the Workforce Development Director, and you're the Economic Development people. So where do we meet? What crossroads are we at? And just wanted to give you, I was told I had 10 minutes, so I picked 5 different topics, 5 points on how the college is helping to interact at that intersection so that we can meet the needs locally and stay abreast of national changes. A few things that have, transpired over the past 2 years. One of our biggest achievements has been the quarterly industry roundtable meetings that are being hosted by Tri-County Council, dividing them out by industry, healthcare, hospitality, retail, trades, IT, and business, and then having those businesses come there and actually tell us what their issues are, how can we help, and having them all together has been really interesting. When we initially started these, right after the pandemic struck, they needed help with reopening. How do we get our business reopened? How do we manage all of these new protocols? So we were able to step in there with some CARES funds and train some outreach workers that could go out to businesses and help them with reopening techniques. Now, that's all transitioned as we continue to meet. These meetings continue quarterly to now, how can we recruit? How can you help us recruit? At this morning's industry roundtable, which was hospitality and retail, I heard such things as job fairs don't work. The attendance is down at job fairs. Paper applications are a thing of the past, and they don't seem to be getting the same responses to their advertisements that they have previously. So there were some actionable items from that. So that's kind of the first, if you will, the first thing that the college has moved towards. One of the other topics that you asked me to address is how can businesses and economic development commission, how can you become involved in what we actually teach? How do you get involved in that? How do you provide us feedback with what you want your employees to know, what you anticipate someone who's going to come from a certain training program, well, what knowledge base will they have? Each one of our academic areas has a program advisory committee, And on that committee, we have faculty, staff, students, businesses, subject matter experts. And these committees and councils, they meet typically quarterly, 1 or 2 hours. Different topics are reviewed, and programs are reviewed on an ongoing basis. Some programs undergo a complete review every 2 years, some every 5 years. So those that really want to, those businesses that really want to sit and help develop curriculum are always welcome to join one of those program committees, advisory committees. That would be the first step for a business to take. The next initiative is, as you know, the college has recently gone through ACT to become a work-ready community, using the ACT National Career Readiness Certificate. So we are on that track right now to become a work-ready community. I see some businesses from St. Mary's County there. I see some from Charles and from Calvert, and that project is underway at the college. Those particular ACT's exams are based on skills. It's a skills assessment, and businesses would need to align what they're looking for in an individual with an assessment process, and then you would set a score. That's just kind of a very basic explanation of how that works. So that is ongoing. That's another way that businesses and economic development can interface with the college to help prepare for the workforce. Let's see. We have, I would say, on my side of the house, on the workforce development area, we have strengthened our relationships and collaboration with our local high school CTE programs, looking at, are we offering the same programming? As a college, we should offer the next step up along the program. Instead of, the high schools have done an outstanding job of entry-level career training. So at the college, I'm looking more towards, if they've completed the entry-level career training and they've chosen the job, how can I move them along that career path instead of offering that entry-level training again at the college? So those are some of the takeaways from our closer work with our CTE coordinators. And then finally, the college has begun the process of a work-based learning program. I think Lisa is on the call here tonight, and I believe she's who's heading that up at the college. So with all the talk about internships and things like that, the college has decided to take the step and be the lead. We have students in various programs that we're offering them a work-based learning experience related to the educational program that we're in. And that has come along quite well. Lisa, if you want to add how many our numbers were I believe this is our first go around with it, feel free to jump in and add it. So those were go ahead, Lisa.
I'd be glad to. So we began our pilot program in positions at the college, and we were very successful in the fall, and we are currently wrapping up placing another 24 interns, giving a total of 44 unique opportunities to students at the college to be placed in work-based learning opportunities in offices in the college. And then our next move is to open it up to the community businesses. So more to come on that.
Thanks, Lisa. And that was it. Those were my 5 points. I think I've taken up my 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Kelly. Next, we have Dr. Eileen Abel. She is the Executive Director of the University System of Maryland at Southern Maryland. Welcome, Eileen.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Hi, everybody, and Happy New Year. A lot of you know that I actually was the academic vice president at the College of Southern Maryland for 5.5 years before I stepped into this role with USMSM. And it's been a unique opportunity for me to continue working with our partners. And I'm really excited to have people on the call and sort of talking a little bit more about how we're creating this education ecosystem in the regional area, specifically in St. Mary's County, but also sort of serving the larger region here. So let me start out by quoting Aristotle. So Aristotle said that the institutions of a city need to be aligned in order to shape its citizens' acquisition of knowledge, skill, and character, so that they would care about their community and have the ability to contribute to its welfare. And if we ever had a reason for us to have a conversation about how education and how workforce aligns, it's that particular statement about how we create knowledge, skills, and character so that people have the ability to contribute to its communities, to their community's welfare. So I love that, and that's sort of the driving motivation for what I do. I have to say, I think St. Mary's County is unique in the region in really being able to focus on that that alignment of entity and opportunity. So, you know, kudos to Chris for leading a lot of the conversation about what's happening with Aero Park and a lot of this economic development stuff. He's on my advisory board also, and has been really helpful in helping me stepping into this role, thinking about how we can integrate education and opportunity, economic development opportunity in the area. So let me just start by talking about what we see in this ecosystem for higher education in Southern Maryland. And I'm looking regionally here. St. Mary's is really very specific in needing business, engineering, and computer skills. So, but regionally, because we serve all of the counties, we're looking at a lot of these programs. So business, we're looking for analytics, administration, management, and finance. We know we're looking for engineering and engineering technologies, particularly around aircraft maintenance, healthcare management, nursing, software development, data science, data analytics, a lot of incredible need around mental and behavioral health services, education at all levels, and Dr. Mayer addressed that a few minutes ago, and project management is another need. So traditionally, the USMSM had been part of the regional higher ed centers that were run by the Maryland Higher Education Commission. It came under the auspices of the University System of Maryland just in 2019, and so has the opportunity to expand with a larger mission. If you want to go to the next slide, please. Our expanded mission is to grow undergraduate programs to meet regional workforce needs. So I just showed you what we saw some of those needs. Traditionally, the Regional Higher Ed Center down there had been primarily focused around graduate knowledge needs to serve the base. So part of what my role is to grow undergraduate programs. You saw that list there. We only offer about half of those programs on that list. So what I need to do is to make sure that we offer some of those programs to meet the needs for the regional workforce. I will tell you it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Our region only has about 18% bachelor completion rate. The national average is 36%. And for the jobs that I outlined on there that have bachelor's degree as the entry-level credential, we have about 31% of the job openings requiring that bachelor's degree. So again, we've got 18% completion rates. We have a 30 to 31% need. That's a pretty big gap, right? That's a pretty big gap. So my job is to make sure that people in our region understand that the investment to finish a degree from the county, from the public schools or the county schools to CSM, to the pipeline where they can complete the programs and get a job on the backside is worth the investment. One of the other mission expansions that I have is to support high-level research with the Clark School of Engineering, which is going to be running something called the Matrix Lab, which is in our new SMART building that stands for Southern Maryland Autonomous Research and Technologies Building. It's an 84,000 square foot building that's going to focus around primarily designing, building, testing, and researching around autonomous systems. Great opportunity for students to get into some high-tech area with high-end researchers and to embed, as Kelly said, some of that work-based learning that we know is key to student success as they enter the workforce. So part of my job too is to make sure that we're growing the pipeline with our school districts into CSM, down to the higher ed center, and straight to employment. One of the great things about the higher ed center, the programs that I offer all lead to high demand, high wage careers in the area. So we really, we understand people need to have a job on the backside. We also are only offering programs with very targeted opportunities on the backside of that. So part of what we need to do as well is to create work-based learning opportunities and paid internships for students, and to grow philanthropic opportunities to create some resources for students to be able to attend college. We know that about 35% of people in the region are either what we call at the ALICE level, which is asset limited, income constrained, and employed. So essentially those people who don't have any assets, they may not have equity in a house, they may be, so they may be renting and are essentially living paycheck to paycheck. So we're actually really trying to target both under-resourced individuals as well as other students who may not necessarily think about going into these high-end fields or even going to college. What we know from the research is that if your parents don't go to college, you're much less likely to go to college. And again, what we also know is if you have some college, you're going to make much more money and have a much more stable work life. If you finish a bachelor's degree, you can make as much as $2 million more every year than a student who has just completed high school. So again, needing to talk to people about the ROIs, but we also recognize that if you don't have resources to go to college, it's our responsibility as a community and as a state to make sure that students who are under-resourced understand exactly how to get funding to finish their degrees. We're working to try to get underrepresented students. We don't have a huge pipeline for some minority students in a lot of these tech fields, and a lot of our employers are looking for, again, a more diverse pipeline. And we also want to make sure that our partner institutions, we have 7 who offer programs at the center, understand exactly what kind of curriculum requirements there are. So I don't manage the curriculum, but I can actually work with our partners to say, hey, this is what we're hearing from our industry partners and our employers, and they say you need to have X built into your curriculum, and they might be able to help manage some of that. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So one of the things that we do pretty well, you saw that very first slide. We know what kind of programs we need to offer down here. We understand the labor market needs. We also understand how we need to do bachelor's completion. We actually have a really excellent advisory board who represents all 3 of our counties, our superintendents, our economic development directors, our chamber presidents, as well as some community members that represent industry, government, healthcare, and the DoD. So people who really do have their fingers in multiple aspects of the community who can help us understand, again, how we serve students and how we serve the community. We have this new building, as I just mentioned, the SMART building. It's an amazing opportunity for us to really work on developing opportunities around this autonomous corridor that will extend from Aberdeen all the way down to Dahlgren. And I actually, on this one in the bottom left-hand corner, I said excellent university partners, and what I really should have said was excellent education partners, because that's what was in my head. So we do have commitment from our current university partners to support and grow the programs, not just the ones that we currently offer, but the ones that we know we have identified. We have a really strong working relationship with the St. Mary County Public Schools. Jeff and I have worked together for a number of years, and we've already talked, as he mentioned, on ways for us to really support the public schools around their education opportunities, but also really to grow those pipeline programs. I have good working relationships with people at the College of Southern Maryland. We couldn't do our job if we didn't have a close partnership with CSM. And one of the things I'm working on right now is to try to create some creative programming with St. Mary's College of Maryland to make sure, first of all, we have different swim lanes for sure, but there are lots of opportunities for us to have some synergy there. So again, all of these create this educational ecosystem in Southern Maryland, which I think is really unique and gives us amazing opportunities to support students who are coming through these pipelines. If you go to the next slide, please. Okay, those are all things that we do well. This slide will tell you some of the things that we don't do as well as we need to. So we do need to create stronger and more partnerships for stronger and more program pipelines. So really what we need to do is to make sure that we're working in sync with the people in the public schools to make sure that their students understand if they're coming out of an academy, if they're coming out of an engineering pathway, if they're coming out of a nursing or healthcare pathway, what the opportunities are locally. And again, what we know is that every program, I mean, a college degree should always lead to a job. What we offer in a unique way, again, are job opportunities on the backside. So part of what we need to do is to make sure that we engage employers from the get-go to make sure, again, that we have those work-based opportunities, that we know what kind of internships are available for students so that they can come in, offset the cost of education, have the opportunity to get a skill set, knowledge, and experience so that they can go into the workforce ready from day one. The other thing that we really are up against right now is awareness. We have a lot of people in the region who don't even know that we exist. And in part, that is a legacy thing because it used to be about graduate programs only. And so as we are starting working on these pipelines with our public schools and with CSM, we're working on a really targeted marketing campaign. We're starting some work groups right now where we're working with CSM, USMSM, and our university partners to make sure that we understand appropriate messaging and that it's common messaging from all three of those entities, where we reach out into the public schools and that our messaging on all of our sites looks exactly the same. But also the other thing that we need to do, you heard me mention that we have a really low bachelor's completion rate. It should be everybody in the region's responsibility to help the communities know that college matters, that they will have much more stable work lives and can lift their families and their communities out of struggle if they go to college and step into one of these employment opportunities that are offered through these pipeline programs at USMSM. And lastly, if you can go to the last slide, again, everybody here, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but, I want to talk a little bit about why all of this matters. So we know that education can be key to both job growth, more stable communities, but it also means that there are happy employers. When you have students who have the knowledge and skill set who can meet the needs that employers have. We have the opportunity right now, again, to create this, to be part of this unique corridor around autonomous systems in Southern Maryland, again, that sort of can have reach across the state and across the nation. So this link that we're creating down here with education, research, and investment, this kind of integrated system at which education is the key. And again, CSM, USMSM, St. Mary's College, and the public school systems, all of the entities that you have on this call right now have to work in partnership and be key with this. It also means that there has to be a lot of communication, a lot of collaboration, and not a lot of silos, right? So we have to break down those silos, not be territorial, and ensure, again, that we're working on this ecosystem where we're creating a lot of synergy around economic and educational opportunities in the region. So I think I stayed under my 10 minutes. I know I talked fast, really great opportunities and really exciting for us right now, and I'm glad to be part of it. So thank you, and I'll entertain any questions at the end.
Thank you so much, Eileen. Great information. And next we have Catherine Gantz, the Interim Dean of Faculty for the St. Mary's College of Maryland. I don't know if Lauren Sampson's also with her, but we'll turn it over to Catherine.
Great, thank you so much. Good evening, and thanks so much for this invitation to join our colleagues and our partners here in the county. On behalf of St. Mary's College of Maryland, we're really excited to talk about the state of education in the county. Again, my name is Catherine Gantz, and I'm the Interim Dean of Faculty, and I'll speak for just a little bit before I turn it over to my colleague, Lauren. If you'd go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Let's see here. So to very quickly remind you of some of the key elements of our identity as the National Public Honors College, and I'm sorry about the animation. If you click again, please. So St. Mary's is one of only 2 public liberal arts honors colleges in the U.S. And indeed, we're the first of the 2. And just to give you a sense of what we mean when we say an honors college, other colleges and universities may have honors level students who participate in an honors program within the larger university, but St. Mary's College is all honors. So that means every student that is accepted into St. Mary's receives an honors level education. And we'd like to put this in the context of professional development and workforce readiness. We also offer a very small class size experience. We have a 9-to-1 student-faculty ratio. And finally, one of our key traits is we have a focus on inclusive diversity, equity, access, and accountability. And again, as public higher education institution, we're really focused on providing an educational experience in which students from all socioeconomic backgrounds can thrive. And again, this is our promise to try to equalize our experiences for every student, and that's both in the classroom and also in extracurricular activities. If you could go to the next slide. So in this larger discussion of the state of education in St. Mary's County, we'd like to talk about the initiatives that are underway at St. Mary's College that really reflect back on both local and national workforce trends. And we don't have much time today, of course, so in our brief 10 minutes, we just want to focus on 3 points. The first one is our new LEAD curriculum. The second is some recent industry partnerships to help foster a local-to-local pipeline. And then finally, we'd like to talk about some really rich collaborations between some industry partners in the county and our own faculty researchers who are serving as a kind of a bridge to bring our undergraduates from our classrooms into your workforce. Next slide, please. So about the LEAD curriculum. 3 years ago, the college rebuilt our curricular design for our general education requirements. And as you can see, LEAD stands for Learning Through Experiential and Applied Discovery. So LEAD is a curriculum comprised of 3 components. There's foundational study that explores the fundamental disciplines and the skills of the liberal arts. Advanced study is really about applying those skills to your major. And then the third component is the Honors College Promise, which brings all those skills together in the student's choice of 3 different opportunities. I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. At the foundational level, actually, we're still one behind. I'm sorry about that. At the foundational level, the college has the option for a new first-year general education seminar. And in this new seminar, students take a set of classes that are organized around disciplines to talk about an idea, a question, or a concept, for example, public health or justice. And the goal here is to have students practice viewing one subject from a variety of different approaches or through lenses or with different tools. And the idea here is that no education can claim to give students the answers to every question they'll encounter. But instead, our goal is to try to make sure that our students become excellent problem solvers. And that's not just here in college, but of course, when they enter the workforce. So we've also incorporated professional development courses into our curriculum, beginning from the foundational level right up through graduation. And this is supported by our outstanding Center for Career and Professional Development. The college wants our students to ensure that they have exposure in their subject area of interest, and that might be through any number of paths. And that brings us to the third component of the LEAD curriculum. Next slide, please. Yes, thank you. So under the LEAD curriculum, all St. Mary's students have the opportunity to pursue the Honors College Promise. So certainly many institutions offer internships or guided research or study abroad, but the issue is often that those are opportunities that haven't been sufficiently connected into the curriculum to be genuinely successful. So our LEAD curriculum has been designed to provide a kind of scaffolded curricular path that builds knowledge and skill sets so that our students are confident to take on that experience. And again, they have their choice of an internship, guided research, or a study abroad experience. And then they're well positioned to have that experience and connect it when they get back to the professional world. These are all opportunities to level up and to take on new challenges. So the experiences that our students take away, very recently they've had internships from a lot of our partners, excellent partners locally, NavAir, BB&T, Booz Allen Hamilton, for example. And if you'll go to the next slide. What we find exciting about this is that our LEAD curriculum has been designed from beginning to end to allow students to develop their professional skills at all levels of study, not just the professional development work, but the academic coursework as well. So we very intentionally designed both curricular and co-curricular programming in our design of LEAD to have these professional skills involved. And I'm sure everybody in this room gets this, that some of the most applicable skills for the workplace are honed in sports and music ensembles and student government. So our in-person classes, our small class sizes, our internships, study abroad opportunities, they are all especially powerful opportunities to hone skills in things like group dynamics or intergenerational communication and team building. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Ms. Lauren Sampson, who would like to talk more about how these LEAD skills have taken our St. Mary's students from the classroom and out and into some exciting partnerships we've developed in the county.
Thank you, Dr. Gantz. As Dr. Gantz mentioned, St. Mary's College students develop the professional skills companies are looking for from the beginning of their first year through to graduation. They put these skills into practice with the help of the college's Center for Career and Professional Development. The center partners with local companies, nonprofits, and government agencies to support student learning through internships, externships, and undergraduate research opportunities. One notable partnership is the Patuxent River Science and Technology Consortium. This pilot program was created in 2018 to build a pipeline for local students interested in STEM fields to get a degree, to engage in workforce development through internship experiences, and to support the local economy through the development of the next generation of workers. These 7 DoD contracting companies have invested their time, energy, and dollars to help the college ensure that the students receiving financial assistance through this program have the skills industry partners need upon graduation. Not only do we see this as a great opportunity to expand, and continue to grow this pipeline, we see this as a model that can be expanded into other industries, thereby increasing the number of St. Mary's College graduates that move into the local workforce. Next slide, please. Thank you. So all of St. Mary's College community partnerships support the economic development of the region, whether through tourism or education and workforce development. Through our educational partnership agreement between NOC-AD, the Patuxent Partnership, and St. Mary's College, our faculty have been collaborating with colleagues at NOC-AD since 2011. These collaborations embrace undergraduate research experiences for St. Mary's College students. They support the Navy's mission, and they have culminated in employment opportunities for many of the college's graduates. Through a local corporate investment, the college was able to increase the number of STEM-focused undergraduate researchers in our summer undergraduate research fellowship program. These student projects have provided insight into issues and potential solutions to the different variables that affect oyster growth in our local region. And finally, St. Mary's College faculty experts are working with local industries to support entrepreneurship and small business development. One example is Dr. Troy Towson's work with local small business Solar Cube, in which he is conducting research on the possibility of creating a printable solar panel. In any given year, our LEAD curriculum requires over 400 touch points with industry partners to support the professional development coursework. These partnerships are invaluable, not only to the college, but to our local community, because every student at St. Mary's receives an honors education, and they take that knowledge and skill acquired with them as they transition into the local workforce. The college is consistently looking for new opportunities to engage local partners, to provide our students with access to industry leaders, to discuss internships and employment opportunities, and to develop programs that support the local economy. And next slide. We'd just like to thank you again for inviting us to speak with you today.
Thank you so much, Lauren and Catherine. Again, very comprehensive information from all of our speakers. Much appreciated if you guys take your time and come here tonight. At this point, I will open it up to the Economic Development Commission members. If you have any questions of any of the speakers.
Hi, Chris. I have some questions.
Sure. Barbara, go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, if you don't mind, talk to all the different groups that shared today. I want to thank everyone for sharing good information. It's very helpful. I took good notes. So I do feel this is important. I'm a huge advocate of workforce development, as most of the folks I just talked to, or I just listened to, know that. So Jeff, for the public schools, got a couple questions. I love the presentation. It's very helpful. A couple things that I was hoping you can share with is for the dual enrollment program. You mentioned you had 1,000 students involved in dual enrollment. What classes are students enrolled in for dual enrollment at this time?
So they can be enrolled in, if they're at the high school, it could be calculus or pre-calculus, for example, in mathematics. We also have a dual enrollment English class on our campus. There are also a variety of other classes, including some STEM courses that have dual enrollment credit associated with them, including there's a health bioethics course that is offered both at Great Mills High School and Leonardtown High School. So there are a number of courses. Those are specific ones that are on our campus. There are also a handful of others. And including at the Forrest Center, the Academy of Health Professions, for example, is another set of courses that offers college credit directly with the College of Southern Maryland. Those are the ones on our campus. Now, there's a number of students that, and they're only limited by what the catalog is offered at CSM, that they can take at CSM's campus directly. But there are also some classes that we allow for them to have an earlier release schedule, for example, to take over at CSM. Now, with the CSM Access program, the ones that are directly, those classes rotate on a year-by-year basis, so that students, if they're in it for a couple of years, they're not in the same classes, for example, from one year to the next. And those classes are whatever we work with the College of Southern Maryland that helps to meet the general studies requirements for it. So that's just a quick summary. I can get you a full list if you'd like as well, but that gives you a little nutshell version.
Yeah, thank you. So no, I appreciate that information just because I'm a huge advocate of dual enrollment. So I was wondering how the program has grown and what kind of classes you're including. I know in the last few years that they needed to beef it up a little, so I'm glad to see that's happened. And and the program's built up to 1,000. That's good. So my other question was, for the tech school, you indicated there's 3.3% students involved in trade and technical school, taking those.
No, that's our exit survey with our graduates. How many go to a tech school after graduation? So of our roughly 1,200 students who graduate in a given year, 3.5% go directly to a trade school. Now, I don't have that up right now. I closed that presentation, but the 18% or 19% that go directly to a workforce, some of them may also be in a program directly tied to their job if they have them go off to say an apprentice school or something like that. But that's what they report to us in their graduate surveys.
So for those students in the tech school, with how are things working virtually? How do you see the students moving forward virtually?
Well, they're all back. We've been 180 days. We're back full time now. So they're actually at the site. Now, last year, when we were closed for a period of time, they would take the academic part of it online. When they came back hybrid, they worked immediately in the hands-on parts of the trades at the Forrest Center. And then we did have, as part of our recovery program this summer, students at the Tech Center and those programs could go directly to the Forrest Center and take hours there to get their hands-on time with the equipment or tools that they needed for their particular trade. So, but this school year, we've been since day one in person.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. Thanks so much, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Sure.
This is Phil Dorsey. I have a few comments. First of all, I think that Ms. Abel pointed out some of the biggest problems we have is awareness. And she emphasized that. Boy, have I been made aware tonight of some of the just the great programs that we have. Nobody knows that
Right.
stuff out there. And
Right.
just to have you all, you have done a fantastic job, you know, collaborating and putting all this stuff together. And, you know, Dr. Mayer, those statistics that you provided were really fantastic. And I hope, Chris, that we're going to incorporate all of these handouts into our final report dealing with education, because I think it's just an amazing summary that these folks have done. And so that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, agreed. Great information.
Christine, you want to go?
Yeah, thank you. So Christine Bergmark, I'm with the Chamber of Commerce, and as both Phil and Barbara said, thank you, all of you. Such a wealth of information, and yes, so much yet to to be learned. So much out there that I think many of us in this commission did not know. So thank you for giving us that, and as Dr. Abel says, working on getting that message out. My question really is directed to Kelly Winters or perhaps Lisa. Kelly, you talked about the program advisory committees at CSM, and I was curious if you could tell us a little bit more about them and how we could find out, who they are and how they're meeting. From the Chamber, we're particularly interested in fostering these internships. I know there's a lot of discussion at the state level now in bringing up and increasing the level of internships. So just curious if you could share a little bit more about that. Thank you.
So each academic area has, or program, if you will, has an advisory council, program advisory council or committee. For example, early childhood teacher education. The advisory committee had, that was the last one I attended. It was about, 4 weeks ago. There were 26 different early childhood providers and educators that came to the meeting, that the new curriculum, they were able to share with the staff and the faculty for those programs, the changes they were seeing in the centers and, the curriculum updates that were coming from the state and so on and so forth. So each particular area program, early childhood, nursing, allied health, has an advisory committee, and that's required. And those folks from businesses and industry we'd love to have more. It's like I said, quarterly meetings. Some of them are quarterly meetings, 1 to 2 hours, I believe was the max that I've attended recently. And just to hear the industry talk, the industry and the employers talk. You get some great information when you look at, is that covered in our training? Well, that's something new. Do we need to add that to the curriculum? What's the depth of that? How has that changed? I mean, my background is I'm a public health nurse. I've been in public health nursing my entire career until I took a position at the college about 10 years ago. I participated in it and helped write some public health classes at another university. And I want to say that I'd be willing to bet that the public health curriculum is undergoing right now a massive curriculum change. And it's coming from all sorts of information that we see just unfolding in front of us. So that applies to almost every industry, healthcare, IT, and IT changes almost daily. So the people that experience that gap from when something changes in the industry to what we're training are the businesses, are the employers. And the college, our programs need that. And your give back produces an employee that's ready to come to work.
So can I weigh in just a second? I just want to echo what Kelly said. So again, one of the things that happens generally at the community colleges, and I've been in that space for 30 years, or I was in that space for 30 years. So what the advisory boards do is to sort of share the information about local knowledge needs. So a lot of the programs that we have in the AAS programs at the community colleges have accreditations. So again, the nursing, the CNAs, that there are particular kinds of accreditations that some of the workers or some of the employers may not necessarily be aware of the required curricular changes that that come along with accreditation for some of those particular programs. So part of what faculty do is to share that information with employers, but then what employers do is to give that particular crucial link about, you know what, the one thing we really need to have embedded in your curriculum, aside from, you know, some of the, you know, the accreditation requirements, is X. What we're trying to do is to implement this kind of thing in all of our local service areas. We need for your students to be able to do this. A lot of times it's about soft skills, because I will tell you that in the curriculum that's required through the accreditation processes don't always include soft skills, or very infrequently do. So, you know, the relationship between the curriculum developers and deliverers at the community college level and the local employers who need those workers, as Kelly just said, the energy and the ability to work together is crucial. And, you know, again, as the Vice President of Academic Affairs, just to echo what Kelly said, what we know is our curriculum is so much better because of the employer input. I just needed to reemphasize what Kelly was saying. It is absolutely crucial that local employers tell CSM faculty what kinds of specific kinds of skill sets need to be embedded into the curriculum to make the best educated workforce out there.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Eileen. Dale, do you want to ask your question?
If I could just add one of the aspects that we're expecting from the work-based learning program is exactly that as well, is placing interns and learning from the businesses what's missing, where are the gaps. So that's built into the internship program as well.
You're up, Dale.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Just superb set of presentations. Really appreciate your time and all the great work that you're doing, particularly all these difficult times we're in right now. I just had a couple questions. I did want to underscore the importance of research. I saw that in a couple of places. And I think the whole region needs a more of an emphasis on research. And I'd also stress the importance of the literature review. There's so much research going on out there. It's really important for researchers to be able to find out what's going on and to add value to the corpus of knowledge that's already out there. Question for St. Mary's College. There's a master's in teaching program, I believe, or there used to be anyway. It took 5 years to get a master's. Is there any thoughts about expanding that 5 years to a master's concept in other areas?
That's a great question. I mean, I think, first of all, our MAT program has been so successful. I mean, I think it has been, in terms of the scope and the scale of our MAT program and the pipeline that we have. And I salute our partners in K through 12 here, that kind of bridge that we've been able to build. I think it's always a question of capacity here on campus, just in terms of some structural questions, but we'd very much like to think long-term about what other kinds of options we might have. Certainly right now we're focused on some new majors that are in the pipeline at the undergraduate level. We have a new business major coming online. We have a marine science major. So those remain at the undergraduate level, but I think I certainly wouldn't rule out some opportunities down in the longer term, I'm sorry, for some other graduate degrees. I think that's a very exciting opportunity for us.
Excellent, thank you. For CSM, and I'm just not familiar, are we offering professional certification courses, various networking, or say Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, NVIDIA AI, these kind of programs that can really jumpstart a career?
We do. We have multiple programs along the CompTIA certifications and all the IT certifications, both credit and non-credit. And there is transferability back and forth between the two. On the workforce side, we typically offer the what I would call an exam preparation. If you're going for your Security Plus exam, you would take a course to prepare you to sit for that industry certification.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's a great area. A lot of learning fast. It's very valuable. high ROI, all that kind of good stuff. And these companies are cutting edge. So you're getting the cutting edge information, forward deployed kind of thing, and really boosting the careers. Just a question for Jeff. The 31% economic disadvantage is certainly something we all need to be working on. That's, very clear to me. And I guess, and I don't know how you do this, how do you engage the parents to support the children moving forward in this? It's been a while since my child's been in school, but I just didn't know. The parents just play such a critical role. And like was said here, if your parents went to college, then you're much more likely to go to college. But it seems like the parents need a fair amount of support if they want it.
Yeah, so engaging families, the entire community really, to support the students, particularly those who need those extra layers of support, is a priority. In fact, we have an office dedicated to family outreach and engagement as well. So it's something that our schools work very hard at in terms of how they connect with families. That school level personal connection. You remember the slide that had our mission statement. It's about positive relationships, not just with the students, but also their families, and bringing them in. And we do have to look at different ways in which we can engage families. Obviously, this last year and a half gave us different ways to communicate with a whole lot of, not just the letters and the phone calls and the texts. There's a whole lot we're doing now that we weren't doing 5 years ago, just because there's different avenues to reach families. And sometimes it's bringing them into the building, and sometimes it's going out directly to them to meet them where they are.
No, I got you. And along those lines, to everyone, is it just a question of, has there been an establishment of any type of facilitated mentoring program or I'll call it TED Talks to bring the outside in, to get people familiar with other alternative views and perspectives? I know we have the Center for Democracy down at St. Mary's College, which is awesome, absolutely awesome. I would like to bring a lot more of the outside into Southern Maryland, because generally we probably don't get out of the region a whole lot, and it'd be great to bring the outside in. Any thoughts on that?
So one of the things we'd like to do actually at USMSM is to start something along those lines. I've had some conversations. Christine Bergmark and I actually had a conversation about that just last week. And we're working with some other people in the community to create some arena for that at USMSM.
Excellent. Anything with mentoring going on in the region? Formally, any kind of program?
Well, if you're talking about student mentoring, we do have a pretty rich after-school mentoring program where volunteers from the community can work directly with our students as well. So, and that's actually a partnership we've had with the county government for a number of years. Oh. So, and we bring in folks from the base who come and give their dedicated hours to us as well. So, we have quite a few hundred adults who work with our kids in that volunteer basis for mentoring. So
excellent. Yeah, I had given a class over at Leonardtown a number of years ago, but I just didn't know if you followed up on that. I think that's crucially important. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
I just have a quick question, Jeff. Is there some efforts to familiarize the students with what happens on base and the opportunities that are on base? Because I always hear that, it's kind of behind the gate. People don't really know what kind of jobs and opportunities there are, and students, if their parents don't know, the students sometimes don't know either.
Well, there's a number of things that happen. First of all, there's the school level programs where they have specific things where they might invite somebody in, but also our STEM program has direct outreach with internships, for example, with all of our academy programs. We also have often guest speakers who come and speak in those specific programs. And to the point earlier about the PACs that are at CSM, we have similar PACs that are for each of our programs at the Forest Center. Each program has a specific advisory council that involves the employers, and we also began an apprenticeship program this past year too. So there are a number of opportunities to connect with not just our local employers, but those on the base as well. I think we have a really rich partnership, and of course they have a liaison who works directly with us as well to help bridge some of those areas.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, do you want to ask your question?
Absolutely. Thank you. First, a thank you to all 5 of the presenters. You've given us an absolute wealth of information. I did have 2 questions for Jeff. The first being, what efforts currently exist to attract and retain, more specifically, retain the long-term teachers, especially new ones that are coming from outside of the county and may not have a impetus necessarily to stay local?
So there's a couple of things that sort of compound here. One, we are in the midst of a teacher shortage, not just locally, but statewide, nationally. So part of it is working with our partners to build and expand teacher education programs so that we can get them in the door. Now, once you get them in the door, you're absolutely right. We want them to stay. So one of the things that we have is a pretty rich induction program that lasts for the first 3 years when they're with us. That involves a one-on-one mentor that is assigned to them at the building, as well as direct support centrally. We meet with them about once a month. Actually, over this month, we're actually going directly to each site and meeting with each of the new teachers just to talk to them about their experience, to hear what needs they have, how we can support them. Because it is very important that they feel not only supported, but find a way to be successful in their first couple of years. Those first few years as they get their feet wet, not just in teaching, but in a new district. We bring in almost about half of our new hires might come with experience from another district. So we do have to differentiate that support. The support a brand new teacher needs is much different than that of someone who has 10 or 20 years experience somewhere else. So we really pay close attention to that and make sure that they have that support at the school levels. So they have that just-in-time support. When they're experiencing an issue, they know exactly who to go to and help solve that problem or address that question. And I will say too, just as a layer on top of that, ensuring that they have a pathway to continue their graduate studies too, so that working with our partners at USMSM, at St. Mary's College, we work with their MATs, but they also work with us in supporting our mentors and our other partners in the area, Notre Dame, Towson, who really support them in their graduate studies as well, so that they can, if they can grow professionally with us, they're also apt to stay with us.
Excellent news. My second question was the portion of students that enter a trade or technical school after high school. Is St. Mary's County's percentage commensurate with the national level or with industry needs?
I'd have to look at and compare those numbers. Again, they fluctuate year to year, particularly based on, the source of that information is from a survey that we provide our seniors as they're leaving us. So it can fluctuate. And this past year, like I said, this year was an anomaly. The world was not the way it normally is, where people go directly off to a place. So the numbers are a little bit down for this past year for some of those. So I would have to look at those trends specifically and look at the comparison to the national. I believe that the numbers are lower this year than they've been.
Okay.
John, would you like to ask your question?
Yes. Thank you for all the speakers. Great presentations. I just have 2 quick questions. My first question is Dr. Mayer. With the exit survey, I would just be interested to hear about the utility of the program. So of our students that are going to Tech Center, how many of those students are actually going to a post-secondary school using the knowledge that they gained at the Tech Center, or, of the students who study business, how many of those students are actually going to a college and studying business? So if you could, I think that would be a good additional question to add to that survey. And it might shed some light on which programs maybe need some more attention, and which programs are performing really well and getting the students prepared to go to college or to work a job in the private sector.
Yeah, thank you. I'll see if we can pull together that information specific to the 4 center programs. I will tell you they all offer some sort of industry certification depending on the program that they have. And so we can get that data about that. The one thing that we had done in the past, which was really a nice highlight from the programs, is they would actually host signing days for students who are graduating from one of the programs with a company that hired them or a place that they're a trade school that they might be attending to. So that we really try to shine the light on those student successes in those programs.
Awesome. I think that's a great way to get the word out. I mean, we talked about that earlier about all the programs that are happening, but it's also great to highlight the kids and highlight the students when they're having success and when they achieve something. My second question is just for any of our college and community college presenters here. Has there been any thought to outreach engagement of our military and our military spouses? I know it's definitely. I consider definitely an anchor if you have a military spouse who is taking college courses. I feel, and my experience has been, they tend to stay where they receive their college degrees for at least 3 or 4 years. So I think that will be maybe a way to bridge the gap as we are working through developing our courses and our curriculum and our students at our high school level, is to use some of the talent that is already here that may be going to different universities, University of Maryland Global Systems, or some of the universities that are on base.
So this is Eileen again from the USMSM. So one of our major partners is the University of Maryland Global Campus. They have a very, very specific outreach effort to the base at PAX, as well as Salisbury University, who does a lot of work with their social work and has placements on the base and tries to recruit for military spouses there as well. So we have, again, those programs are very veteran and active service member oriented.
Mr. Barr, I think that's an excellent question. That's a place that we'd like to build out more. We certainly do have a number of veterans that have come to St. Mary's, but the idea of spouses is yet another step that we'd like to build. I think one step that St. Mary's has currently taken is when we hire new faculty, for example, we have a fairly developed onboarding process, but I think something that we've really just started to develop now is a kind of community onboarding, so that our faculty who are new to the area can not just plug into the resources of the campus, but really start to understand the county. I think one of the best ways, if you want to talk about retention of your workforce, is to understand not just the kind of the workplace culture, but the larger resources available in the area. And so I think back to your question, Mr. Barr, about military spouses, I think what we really want to be able to do is build those bridges with some of our closest neighbors, and certainly the base is one of them. So I really appreciate your comment. That's something I intend to take back to my colleagues.
I want to be respectful of the presenters' time. We're running pretty late here, and we do want to have them come back at some point, so I don't leave while they're still here. So thank you again. I know we have a couple more hands up, but maybe we can put that in emails and get those questions to you guys, because I know we're running a little behind. So thank you again to all our presenters. Very much appreciate your time. Great information. We asked you some tough questions, and you guys are still there, so good answers too. So thanks again for coming tonight and helping inform the Economic Development Commission. Thank you very much. Presenters are free to leave. We have a few more topics for the EDC, some quick ones. Item 5 is the SEDS process update. We talked about having a consultant come in and help us kind of wrap things up and put things down on paper and do some specific items for us. Kelly, do you want to speak to that RFP process that we had and where we are with that?
Thanks, Chris. Just a brief summary of where we are right now. As you know, the RFP was released on December 16th. We distributed the request for proposal to 9 different firms with a deadline to reply of last Friday, which was January 14th. We received 2 proposals, and we have not had a chance to review those yet. We're we're working on a short week this week, but we hope to have those reviewed and have a firm selected by January 21st. The RFP did indicate that we are requesting the firm to be completed with their work by the end of this fiscal year. So by the end of June 2022, we should have an updated SEDS document. As part of that proposal, we are requiring the consultant to conduct 4 stakeholder input sessions, of which one will definitely be the full EDC. So the next time we come back around to discuss the updated SEDS document, it will be as an entire group and with the consultant that is chosen to conduct the update.
Thank you, Kelly. Next on our agenda is open discussion. This is where EDC members can make a comment. So just raise your hand if you'd like to say something. Kelly, go ahead and call on people, Kelly. I see Christine's hands up.
I'm sorry, Chris, can you do it? Because I have to adjust the election of officers poll.
Sure.
No worries.
All right. Go ahead, Christine.
I just popped it in the chat, but I wanted everybody to know that the Chamber is hosting a State of the Schools luncheon on April 7th with Superintendent Smith, COVID pending, but it's another opportunity to really learn more what's happening in our public schools. Just putting that out there.
Great, thank you. Any other comments? Barbara?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. And I have an opportunity to say that to everyone. Hope everybody had a nice start. It's going to be a pretty snowy one. I just wanted to share that I know Chris is aware, but it's nice for the community to hear it as well, that the Navy Alliance has been working really hard on a workforce development project called, it used to be called PAX 2020, now we're calling it Southern Maryland 2020. But it's an opportunity to build workforce development. And we've developed that through the Navy Alliance. I work very closely with Dottie Samoa on that. And so with that initiative, our board was awarded $1 million towards this effort in developing workforce development for this county, which is huge. So part of that initiative and using those funds or developing a good plan for those funds to be placed in the right location so that we can really take advantage of the fact we could build some workforce needs is to use the quarterly workforce development council meetings and use that as a part of Southern Maryland workforce development. So I think that's really important. We've been working it for many years. I went to the Hill with Dottie and worked with a lot of the congressional side as well as the Pentagon side and talking about the importance of those funds and what they can do for our county. You know, the Pax River, the base, is a very, very engineering math-centric place. And that's where the money is. And so we're looking to develop that workforce development to support those needs, which includes not only engineers, but also the tech folks. And that's why I asked a lot of those educational questions today about those tech folks, because they're an essential piece of our education program and our workforce development. We have so many folks that would like to work in the workforce, and they like to do it as an entry level. And a lot of folks go in there with some sort of skills and need to have those skills developed more. Hence why it's important to bring that up for tech graduation rates from the high schools as well as at CSM. What's going on at Heisfeld, and have the opportunity to ask that question. I like to have that question, talk more on specifically the tech side of the house for CSM. So Chris, if you can add that to the minutes as something to talk about, we should have a discussion just on that alone. I think that that's important. So many of our population that graduate, you notice, do not go into 4-year, 2-year school. They go into workforce. So we should definitely provide opportunities for them. And I think that's a piece of that Southern Maryland 2020. we just wanted to share that piece of opportunity that's coming up real soon, and everybody on this board is going to be able to play a role in that.
Right. Thank you, Barb. Very important. $1 million is a lot of dough. We don't quite have it yet, but we're 99% of the way there, so we'll get it. Anybody else have a comment or question?
Dale?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, so on the base, the what they call the Section 852 funds, which was basically graduate education funds, have been zeroed out. The Section 219, otherwise known as NICE, has picked up that bill that takes away from, funding the workforce to do research and lab work. And I don't know the future of all that, but they're balancing things, trying to figure out what the right balance is. It's very possible in the future you'll see very targeted graduate program funding in key strategic areas, vice a broader swath of graduate work. So I just throw that out there for awareness. Clearly it wasn't the right thing to do in my opinion, but the base is trying to compensate for the existing programs already up and going.
Thank you, Dale. John Barr?
Trish, I'm gonna put you, Ms. Post, I'm gonna put you on the spot. I hate to do it, but I'm a travel coach and I'm a customer of yours. I've been down to your location. It's a great location. I've seen the diversity of events that you hold there, from boxing matches, from flag football, from laser tag. So I just wanted to know from your experience outside of COVID, what kind of difficulties do you have, and if not any difficulties, what kind of opportunities do you see for activities and hosting events in St. Mary's County?
Thanks, John. I appreciate that. To start with, there's never enough space from 5 to 9 p.m. when people want to be active. I don't know, I call it the happiest place in the county. You're right, the different groups of people and the things that get accomplished at Willows is pretty amazing right now. I would like to see it grow into, our tutoring has really grown. Mentorship kind of happens naturally there. So if there was a way to streamline that, it would be great. Just with all the coaching and the people that we have in the building, and all the people that then get introduced to each other throughout that process is pretty amazing. Our tutoring is really growing. I have now probably 4 kids that I'm looking for scholarships for the tutoring. So there's a lot of things that occur there, and people are there kind of because they want to, and then they gravitate towards some other programs that we can do to help with education or family activities. We have the Rotary Club in there, the Optimist Club. Just as space, we don't charge for space for any of the nonprofits. So we're getting a lot of people through there. I would appreciate any comments for synergy there. But it is a great place to grow a lot of different things in the county, just based on the clientele we have there.
Thank you, Tricia. Thanks for the question, John. Anybody else? If not, we'll move to the next agenda item, which is the annual election of officers. Always a fun time. And I will turn it over to Kelly, who's got some techno way of calculating who the next officers are.
Yeah, so we're going to do the election of officers as a poll, and I'm going to launch it here. You vote for one in each category. It should only let you vote for one. And when it times out, I'll give you the results.
These are all anonymous, right, Kelly?
They are anonymous.
Do we have a quorum? Do we need a quorum?
We do. We have 10, and a quorum is 8.
Okay, perfect.
Kelly, do you have the date of our next meeting?
I do. Next meeting is April 20th.
Hopefully that will be in person.
Hopefully. Keeping our fingers crossed. Okay, we have 10 people voting. That should be everybody that's a member. Our chair is Elizabeth Torgerson. Our vice chair is John Barr. And our secretary will be Lisa Calavito.
All right. Congratulations. Elizabeth, John, and Lisa.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for stepping up and helping us out and lead the EDC. So you guys will be in place for our next meeting, April 20th. We'll send an invite for you. And we plan on having that meeting in person in the Chesapeake meeting room. I think that's it. Back to Elizabeth for the adjournment.
Okay. And with that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
And with that, the January 19th, 2022 EDC meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tal. Appreciate it.
Thank you.